This is a clip from one of our most recent episodes. For full episodes and more, please check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, and YourVibesPodcast.com. This episode is brought to you by Mulberry Mill. Mulberry Mill is a 100,000 square foot warehouse located in the heart of downtown Dixon and is Dixon's only co-working space. Current tenants include 22 private offices, the Station event venue, and the Tennessee Artesian Market. Future developments include a 10,000 square foot event space, an office space expansion, and custom build to suite tenant spaces ranging from 100 square feet to 10,000 square feet. If you would like to join the Mulberry Mill family of small business owners, remote workers, artists, and entrepreneurs, please contact Andy Truman at info@mulberrymilldixon.com or shoot her a text at 336-693-4311. So kind of walk me through, it doesn't have to be your full pitch, but kind of how you connect that. Maybe just some teasers here and there to kind of draw some people into it, as far as if I walk in and say, hey, I want a tour, let's just kind of walk me through kind of how that would look like and tie that picture together.
So the museum is designed for both a guided and a self-guided tour.
Okay.
So we cater to whichever the guest prefers. And what we do is you start off, you pay your admission, you get your ticket in the gift shop. And then we take you back out into the lobby where you walked into, because we used to be an old hotel. Mm-hmm. And we begin by talking about the history of the building you're standing in, the old Hotel Halbrick, built in 1912 by Mr. J.T. Halbrick, opened in 1913 as a railroad hotel. We talk a little bit about the rail history of Dixon County. Why does a railroad hotel exist? Why are they no longer around? Why did Dixon County exist? Why did Dixon exist? How did these things come together to create the building you're currently standing in? We give you a layout of the building. You walk into the lobby. To your left is the drummer's room, which was a marketing gimmick for traveling salesmen who are drumming up business from town to town. And Dixon was a stop-through town. You come to Dixon because you were going to Nashville or the river, and the train stopped in Dixon.
Yeah.
And as a marketing gimmick, hey, if you're a salesman, you get a room at the hotel, you can display whatever you're selling in the drummer's room for the duration of your stay.
Huh.
So it's a marketing gimmick.
That's
there.
Pretty good. Yeah.
To your right's my office, which used to be a telegraph office. And then next to it, you've got the front desk. Across the hall from that, you've got the dining room. The 3 rooms downstairs were the manager's suite, where the manager of the hotel, a woman named Belle Goad. She lived there, her and her family. The 3rd room on the bottom floor is where Governor Clement was born in 1920. All the rooms upstairs were hotel rooms of the time, and each individual room is in a current exhibit. So you'll walk in and you'll see history of the railroad to kind of introduce you to what the site is. And then you'll go in through the Clement suite, the Clement Goad suite, where you'll see Governor Clement's room where he was born and be introduced to that name. And as you go upstairs, you'll see an example of what one of the rooms looked like when it was a hotel. And then you'll get into the commerce history of Dixon, because we've always been a commercial county, an industrialized county, from A.H. Leathers Manufacturing Company to Tensco today. Mm-hmm. And then you go into the history of the county itself. What was Promised Land, as we talked about earlier? What was the Ruskin Colony, and what was a colony of socialists doing in Dixon County at the time? Which at the time, if you look, it wasn't uncommon. They were everywhere. New Harmony, Indiana was a whole town built for the same reason. They just lasted a little bit longer. They all fell apart. What was the iron history? Who was Montgomery Bell? And then you go into a room dedicated to the Civil War in Dixon County, and then Hampton High and the African-American civil rights history of Dixon County. And then you go back into Governor Clement and his accomplishments, and you end it all with our model railroad room, which is one of our biggest attractions. It's a complete layout of Dixon from the 1920s and 30s.
It's incredible. For anybody that hasn't seen that,
it's amazing.
It is absolutely incredible what they've done.
And the upstairs hallway, it's very wide. Mm-hmm. It was a modern hotel for its time. 1 toilet in the building, so it had indoor plumbing. They could say that on ads. Mm-hmm. And every room had its own steam-powered radiator, so during the winter, the rooms could be heated. However, no air conditioning. At the summer, they'd raise the windows at the front of the building and the back of the building, and it was a very wide hallway to give a cross breeze. You would sleep in the hallway, most likely, even though you've got a room. There'd be couches and chairs and tables out there for you to entertain yourself. But that's a good gallery space today, and that's where we do our temporary changing exhibits. We'll put on one every couple of months. The current exhibit, which is actually finishing today, is the Furnace Artisans Guild art show, which was fantastic this year.
Cool.
Prior to that, we did The Art of Mike Schacht, a world-renowned pop artist who was a contemporary of Andy Warhol. Prior to that, we did an exhibit on Promised Land. Prior to that, we did an exhibit on Tennessee's 225th birthday, which happened this year. The next one we're going to do it's actually the centennial year of the Dickson County Chamber of Commerce. Wow. So we're going to talk about, what is a Chamber of Commerce and what role do they play and why are they important even today? So we always have exhibit and ideas coming up.
Yeah.
Keep things fresh. Keep people coming back.
Absolutely. And is it's been a long day. The park, why am I blanking on the park's name next to it?
Holland
Park. Yes. Is that I've never had that clarified. Is that part of
That's city property.
Okay.
We only own the building.
Okay.
Once you leave the building, you're on city property.
On city property. Okay. And there were offices in the museum as well too. At one point, weren't there? Because
At one point, yes. So the hotel closes in 1954
Okay.
as they start build the interstate. Well, if you have a business designed for rail travel, what happens when people aren't riding trains?
Yeah.
You go out of business.
No business.
Actually, which is why I-40 runs through Dixon. Governor Clement oversaw the creation of the interstate system, and he ran I-40 through Dixon because he noticed it was killing the town, not having the railroad.
Got us three exits on that
got us
bad
three
boy.
exits and brought people back to Dixon. So thank you, Governor Clement, for that.
Absolutely.
Actually, if you look at the interstate in the state of Tennessee, it weaves where most states just draw a straight line. Clement did that on purpose. He's trying to touch all these little rail towns that are dying because of the interstate. The cure is going to be the cause.
Yeah.
I guess when we look at it that way.
Such a great governor.
He was one of the best.
Yeah.
He's one of the most impactful governors we've ever had in the history of the state of Tennessee.
Unfortunate car accident.
49 years old.
Yeah.
Everything he did was before he was 50.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's quite an impressive
unbelievable.
life.
Yeah.
Really. So we closed in 1954. Then we were office space for a while. In 1971, Robert and Maybelle Clement, Governor Clement's parents, bought the building. They moved into it. They lived on the second floor, and they converted the downstairs of the museum as a museum to their son, Governor Clement. And when they died in the 1990s, they left it to the state of Tennessee. At one point, they took it over. The funds were raised thanks to Annabelle Clement O'Brien. She was really, really big in that. Governor Clement's sister. It was a long-term state senator. She was amazing. She really kind of brought the pace back. Helped raise the funds, and the state of Tennessee did a massive renovation of it, and we opened in 2009 as the museum we have today.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was...
Fairly young museum.
Yeah, very young. I think my granddad's office was in there, county extension agent.
Probably the Chamber of Commerce in the 1980s. That's where they met.
Wow.
That was their building.
So much history there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad that... so how big is the board there? How many people?
About 17 people.
Oh, good. Okay. So there's a lot of support, obviously a lot of support behind it.
We have a lot of... I am thankful.
Me too.
Thankful for every one of my board members. I could not ask for a better board
If something ever
of
tried to
directors.
happen to that, I would be part of the chain of people that stood in front of it and said, no, this isn't
we
going.
appreciate that.
There's no
I'd
way that
link
it could
arms with
really
you right in
ever.
the front.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
We're also on the National Register of Historic Places, so
nothing
it
can
would
really
take an act of Congress.
And they've got way too
An
much on
act
their
of God
plate.
or an act of Congress to get rid of the building. And I think they have a couple more things to worry
They
about than the
do.
Clement
They have
Museum.
a little bit to worry about. So tell us about. I think we're at almost an hour and 20 minutes. I guess we can kind of finish up with. So you've told us about the legacy event right at the start,
Yeah.
and
November 16th,
November 16th. All right,
6 o'clock.
and then you've got the murder mystery coming up.
Yes,
too, right?
October
Yeah.
23rd.
Okay.
So we have a wonderful staff. I am so happy for my employees, from our volunteer docents to the paid staff. Taylor Weiss, who is a fixture of the museum.
He's been there for a while,
He's
too.
been there for a while. Everyone can't
He's
speak
fantastic.
highly enough
Yeah.
of Taylor. And then our newest hire, Jasmine Brand, who is a very gifted writer, researcher, historian in her own right. She's amazing. I can't speak highly enough of her either. She came to me a little while back and said, I have this idea because, we've been wanting to do something for Halloween coming up. We maybe thought about a haunted house, but that may not be, the best idea in a museum. And she came to me and said, what about a murder mystery night? And I said, the only thing I have to ask is it's not something cheesy where you watch it and they flip the lights out and there's a scream and all these different things. Just don't do that. And she said, well, let me come up with something. And she came back to me a little while later with this idea, and she pitched it to me, and I loved it. And I said, that's what we're going to do. So it's almost like an escape room. The audience is the detective. The audience is the investigator. The audience has to search the building looking for clues, putting the pieces together, interrogating the suspects. Everyone has a motive. What is the motive? You've got to figure it out. You've got to ask them. You've got to get down to it, and you've got to solve the crime. Now, tickets are on sale now. Pre-sale is $15. We're only allowing 50 people.
Okay.
Just because it's so interactive, we don't want too many people in the building because it just won't be fun at that point.
Sure.
If you're having to push people out of the way to get something or see something. If we happen to not sell out, it'll be $20 at the door.
Okay.
If we do sell out, we will add an extra day.
Okay.
We'll add another day. So if we sell out, it'll be the following night, the 24th, and the murderer will change. In fact, the cast has no idea who the killer is.
Okay.
I don't even know who the killer is at the moment. I've asked not
So
to be
you
told.
can't pay him off. Yeah.
So you can't pay me off. You can try.
Yeah, I'll accept it.
I'll accept it. But we won't tell the person who did it they did it until right before the show starts. So it's going to be a really
So how many
fun
actors are there?
night. 5.
Okay.
5. We've got a traveling salesman. We've got a telegraph operator. We've got the maid. We've got the hotel manager, and we've got the town gossip who might tell you true stuff or tell you lies.
Oh boy.
You never know. It's gossip. She might have heard something true.
Man. And I don't know if you mentioned.
It's 6. We also have an investigator. I will say that. But the investigator is, while they're conducting their show, they're kind of just to help you along.
Okay.
They're just there to help you along. But also the investigator might have done it.
Yeah.
So is the investigator helping you solve the crime, or is the investigator trying to throw you off their trail?
Yeah. And you said it was based off a true story.
It is based off of a real life crime from the 1920s at a railroad hotel in California, the Hotel de Coronado, where a woman was tragically murdered. It was labeled a suicide, but there was an investigation conducted. And that's the basis of this show. Now, of course, it's loosely based on that show, but it does have a real life. We're historians. Everything we do is going to be based something in history. We've got to connect it back to that.
So you get 50 people in there, and they're in essence all working on the same team, right?
Right.
So they
the
can
goal
correspond,
is to figure it out,
and so. Is there like a definitive end point? How long did you say it was going to take?
Roughly an hour, 2 hours.
Okay. So and so what do you do? Just say, okay, investigation is now over.
Completed, and we'll give you a ticket.
Okay.
And the group will vote on who they think did it.
That's so exciting. That is so, yeah, go get your tickets for that. That sounds awesome. Is there a prize, or is it just like
we will give a prize so it's a 1920s themed. It is not a requirement. I want to stress that because that may draw people away. It is not a requirement. If you show up in 1920s era costume, we'll give a prize to best costume.
Oh, now we're talking.
So it's a 1920s theme. So come dress, come not. That's completely up to you. Just as long as you're wearing clothes is all I care about. And we will also give a prize to the best sleuth. Whoever did the best detective work, we thought will also get a prize.
And are you in any way involved? That you just kind of a fly on the wall?
I am not an actor. I'm just a fly on the wall. I'll just kind of be watching.
Okay. Oh, just watch it
None
all
of the staff
unfold.
is acting in the show.
Okay.
Yeah, we were.
Are they all local
sure about
Dixon
that.
people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all from Dixon County. Yeah.
Thanks again to Mulberry Mill for sponsoring this episode. If you are looking for an office or a creative space, or are someone looking for a beautiful and local event venue, please contact Andy Truman at info@mulberrymilldixon.com or shoot her a text at 336-693-4311. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode, please reach out to me directly via email at yourvibespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and always remember, stay vibey, my friends.